A few days ago, I made a video proposing a strange idea. If you didn't see the video, I visualized a scenario where a portal opened up right next to Earth and a giant pink planet loomed over on the other side. From the tops of mountains, you'd be able to jump from Earth over to this new planet, but the portal would close in 30 days. In the scenario, I asked you guys if you would make the jump over and stay there on this new planet after the portal had closed, and there were a lot of good answers. To be completely honest, I haven't read most of the replies you guys left because I wanted to see them for the first time in this video. So let's pick through and see what you guys had to say. So the first reply I want to read is from Sanshit Shavan. I hope I said that name right. He says, the planet has never been the problem. It's literally the people who perverted and destroyed the little bits of pristine beauty we have left. If you go somewhere else, you're assuming that humans don't follow you and ruin it too. Now, I actually find this really interesting because after I had that dream, I was instantly thinking about, wouldn't we just do the same thing that we're doing here? Yeah, it would take some time, but we already know how to establish factories. We would already probably be digging into the ground trying to find whatever resource we can burn through and use as fuel. Let's say that humans have been here for 1,000,000 years and it took us this long before we started damaging our planet. But now we have a head start on ourselves. So how long is it going to take, even though this planet that I hypothesized is 2 times as large as Earth? How long is it going to take before we populate it to the point where we do what we're doing here and then we can't live there anymore? I think it would be really interesting if maybe half the population did move over to this new planet, and that would kind of like restrict the damage in some way to our planet and this new rock at the same time, and then hopefully we would take that into consideration and learn from our mistakes, but you never really know, and I think it's a really good point to bring that up. Shinra Fugitive says, my 2 biggest issues with going on to this planet are as follows. First, the plant life is simply too alien to be reliable to humans, or any animal life from Earth. If it turned out that the pink color on the leaves is caused by something like oxidized cobalt, then that'd instantly be a no for me. The plant life just follows different rules than our plants. Furthermore, the fact that governments from all over the world will be attempting to colonize it means that I'm just going to be walking into a streamlined version of a global governance structure. No potential for sovereign nations to spring up independently and create their own cultures. Just a citizens of the world deal without the extra steps. Now, I also have a couple problems with what you said, but what I really like about this comment is that it wasn't just instantly like, yes, I want to go, which it seems a lot of the comments in here are, honestly, yes, I would just do it and I'd feel regret if I didn't. So I do like that you were thinking critically about this. As for the plants, that is a really good point. What is it that caused them to turn pink, and are they poisonous? When a monkey comes in contact with a new plant, it rubs it on its face or on its skin, and then sees if it has an allergic reaction before it ingests it. Now, humans, on the other hand, we have the benefit of technology. And I imagine the scientists who are coming to this planet would probably bring some sort of mechanism that would be able to tell what would be poisonous for humans and what would be edible. Now, as for the government structure, this is one thing that I thought about a lot. If this planet is 2 times larger than Earth, then what's really going to stop you from taking some friends and taking off? Like, let's say you're staying there for a month and then all of a sudden the government structure they set up is just really overwhelming and not appealing for you. So you've been there for a month, so you take the friends that you've made, you take a girl that you're crushing on, or a guy, whatever, and you take them like 50 miles in a different direction. And you just keep doing that for, let's say, maybe 8 to 12 days. And now you're so far away from anything, it's going to take everyone so long before they even find you. I also think, too, a big problem, let's say only upwards of 2 million people. Let's say 2 million people go to this new planet. 2 million people on this giant-ass planet is not enough. And it would be a really bad move if this government got so totalitarian that they started killing off people who were deserting or not listening to what the government structure wanted them to do. It's not really their choice at that point. This whole planet, to me, at least in my mind, the way that I saw it, would feel kind of like Alaska. It's like the final frontier of freedom. You just go there and you can do whatever you want, and if you don't like who's running the place, just go find a place in the woods. Not to shoot you down or anything, I really like your thoughts, which is why I went into them. Shock Blast has a really cool reply. He says, an incredibly thought-provoking video. It's hard to have a definitive answer. I want to say that I would take the jump. It'd be difficult at first, as in the case with colonizing anything. Who knows what's edible? It's an entire planet, and we're still discovering new things on our home world. It would take a long time to see everything. The creatures could be friendly or deadly. We'd no longer be the apex species for some time. But it's the experience unlike any other. Should you do it? And our only chance to effectively explore the cosmos. I really like what he said about the animals, you know? In the scenario, scientists did find animals, but they never said if they were carnivorous or if they were herbivores. They never talked about how large they were. They also never talked about if they were poisonous to human beings or if eating them would kill you. I also love the thought that we wouldn't be the apex species. That makes complete sense. We would be the foreign being on this completely new planet. And the entire planet, down from storms and natural disasters, animals, each other, whatever the hell lives in the ocean. Maybe sometimes it rains and the rain is really acidic. I mean, you don't know. So it's a really good thought, but I think the coolest part about human beings is we have an uncanny ability to adapt. We're one of the only species on this planet that can literally live anywhere on our planet. And I think that gives us some flexibility when it comes to potentially living on this new planet that could be dangerous or could be just a paradise, and we just don't know. Oliver says, as a history-minded person, I'd probably stay on Earth, with the many wonders to explore and to awe in, but then on the other hand, going to a planet would give someone from the 21st century a way to write history, to create wounds and such. Nah, I'd miss my home way too much. Plus, once there are people on that planet, research for teleportation and such will ramp up. In the early days of America being settled, it felt like it was months away from Europe. But once the sea routes were known, it took mere weeks. So maybe something like that would happen. That's a really good thought. I actually didn't consider the idea that we would try to implement teleportation just because of this phenomenon, but that does make sense. If we observed a wormhole open up, that completely opens the door for us to be like, okay, so physics just did that. How do we do that? We just need to manipulate whatever happened there, and then we can do the same thing. I mean, people were passing through this natural God-given portal, so why can't we do that? And I imagine the 30 days that we spent looking at the portal, we probably would have been studying the crap out of it. So that's a really good point. Maybe you don't have to be an early adopter. Maybe you can just jump through in maybe 20, 30 years when we finally found a way to do it for ourselves. And then who knows, at that point, maybe we end up looking through the cosmos with these crazy telescopes and we find planets that are way larger, way smaller, way more lush, more habitable for us. I mean, yeah, that's just a really good point that I didn't consider at all. Nyrite says, I would leave to a planet where GPU prices are normal. Evan Barclay says, the only issue for me would be the time limit. If I could have like 2 to 3 months to get things in order here on Earth, I would take the jump. But I just don't know if 30 days is enough time for me to find out if the planet is safe and then make that decision. See, and that's a really good point, and I actually see a lot of people coming back with that. They're like, look, we don't know about the storms, we don't know if there's any pathogens or diseases out there that's going to just instantly kill us off. But I don't know, I think you can think your way out of stuff like that too. Like, if these scientists or this government system all around the world knew that they were going to be taking this leap through this portal, I mean, you got to consider that they would have thought all that through, and they would have come up with ways to make vaccines, or they would have come up with ways to isolate themselves in suits so that if they did find a pathogen, or if maybe a plant emitted some noxious gas that they just ran into, that they'd be able to combat that. But it's a really good point, you know? Hydrak9 says, starts the video, Barry, there you are sitting in your house eating a bowl of cereal. Me, stops eating bowl of cereal. So Special Ops Dave has a really good comment. If we could bring over enough information and scientists and enough of each sex to quickly boost population, along with potentially even crops, we could boost our chances of discovering alien life. We would probably have society set up well enough within 200 years to get a space program of our own going. And we would have the information of where Earth is located, so we could try to send some sort of radio evidence. I love the idea of that. That's actually incredibly smart. If we know where Earth is, then already now we're starting to map our universe. So we've got Earth that we're trying to understand, we have this new planet that we're trying to understand, and we have at least a little bit of a section of the universe, part of the Andromeda Galaxy, that we're trying to understand. Bob has a pretty optimistic comment here. I'm an extremely curious person, so most likely I'd jump to see what happens, but objectively speaking, I don't think it's a good idea. After the wormhole closes, there will be no communication with Earth. Given that delegates from each country have already made the jump, I think that every country is going to try and establish a totalitarian regime. There will be no way for people on Earth to intervene. Every country is going to want to capitalize on this opportunity, and I really don't think that just starting peacefully anew is an option. With perhaps very few people on the new planet, it would be difficult to make a change or revolt against tyranny. I would still go because perhaps we'd have a few months of just having fun and being truly free from any form of government, and after that, it'd pretty much go back to like how life is on Earth. I think the saddest thing about this thought is how realistic it sounds to me, but then also too, like how much faith we have in our own societies. Like, we know we're all human beings, but because one person was born in China and I was born in America, there's just no way we're going to get along on this new planet. We're just not going to agree on what social structure to implement, even though we've all come there to maybe try to set up something new. I could totally see a movie where this scenario happens and everyone on the planet basically just kills each other except for one guy and one girl. Let's twist it up, like the guy's gay and the girl's a lesbian, and they just have to deal with that. Andre Cole says, why not just find an unoccupied spot on the planet and found a society of my own? Build an entirely new social structure that makes its people feel happy instead of lost and used like the current one does. A society in which people are not bound to money or possessions, but rather to people, feelings, friends, and adventures. Honestly, I would leave this world and everything I have in it in a heartbeat if there was even the slimmest chance that I could live in the world you and I just described. The more I see and learn about things in this world, the sadder I get about the people around them. We have such a beautiful world to explore and learn about, yet we continue to ruin and plunder in the name of money and power. It's very sad to see, and it's even sadder that we're forced to be a part of it. Life could really be a dream. I guess when I was thinking about this concept, I was thinking about the potential of a consciousness shift just because of the planet that we occupied. So go with me on this. I've been to the UK, and I've been to Vietnam. And I'm not saying this to brag. What I'm trying to say is, every time I've left this country and gone to a different country, I have about a week where I feel like I'm entering through this, imagine a gelatinous consciousness field. And I know this sounds weird, but please just go with me on this. When you go to a foreign country, your ego shreds itself because you have to adapt. You literally feel your mind adapting to the new environment that you're in. You cannot be a capitalist American in Vietnam. It will not treat you well. You will not adjust well. And it makes me wonder if something like that would happen on this new planet. We all get there, and all of these delegates from every different country, their initial goal is to rule this new world, right? They want a new world order here on this big pink planet, right? That's what they want, but then they get there, and we all go through this shift. And we all just realize that this is a paradise, and we just end up laid back and chill, and it's all just nice. And we're all sitting there making jokes about how easy it always could have been. Why wasn't it always this easy? I feel like when there is no set social structure, the shift that your mind is going to go through is going to be like you going on vacation. And I honestly imagine everyone going through some sort of shift like that, whether they're a scientist, a politician, a diplomat, maybe a vegan. I'm just joking about that last one. I really appreciate this next comment by Vladislav. It really was from the perspective of taking a giant step back and looking at the entire concept as a whole and what it means. So he said, everybody dreams of a fresh new start. The people in the comments saying no are only bringing up practical problems. How a wormhole couldn't just be that convenient, how the new environment would have plenty of unidentified and possibly poisonous flora, or the fact that a new ecosystem means new viruses and bacteria that we haven't evolved to deal with. But those are stupid questions for such a fantasy what-if situation. The true question is, given the opportunity for a fresh start, would you take it? Just about everybody either has regrets and or bored of ordinary life. The true reason to say no to this aren't practical concerns over safety. The true question is, are you ready to abandon your friends and family and your responsibility? Are you willing to selfishly run away from it all? I literally cannot tell you how much I appreciate how large of a step back Vlad took when analyzing this idea. There's something to say for people who listened to the story and were really sucked into it and really thought about, whoa, what does this mean? But it's just so cool that he was so analytical about it, and that really did make me think a lot. I thought, okay, so wait, did I make this video because I wanted to put people in this environment in a story idea and run with it? Or did I make this video because I'm thinking about Vietnam. I'm thinking about going and living in a foreign country. That's really what I want to do. Was this story just a subconscious effort from my mind trying to tell me that this is what I want, to leave and make a new start, and I dumped it on you guys? You freaking threw me into an existential shit, Vlad. This next comment is from Night Yule, and he basically says a lot of the stuff that other people have been saying in the comments, but he articulated it so well that I had to share this one. I'd go. A fresh start sounds great, but I do have some concerns. Most importantly, we'd have to be careful not to f*** up this new planet like we did Earth. It's an opportunity to do better from the start rather than cleaning up the damage left by previous generations while simultaneously struggling with the destructive behavior we still have. Society could develop differently from on Earth, free from wars and petty political screaming, or we could bring our self-destructive tendencies over from the old world to the new. It's uncertain which would happen. Being completely isolated from Earth is unsettling. Millions of years of history, all the diverse species, potentially friends and family, you'd have one chance to see it all on such short notice, then never again. You're millions of light years away from the birthplace of humanity, on a world you know nothing about. Sure, it's a novel experience and you'll spend your whole life seeing and learning things no one else has, but there's no going back. The concept is scary to me. In such a limited time, any significant infrastructure and technology would be impossible to bring over. Without the collective knowledge stored on Earth and relying on what little people can remember or what they can bring over in such a short period, how will technology advance? We will be essentially starting over with no tools for research and manufacturing. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Anyway, those are my thoughts. Honestly, I don't really have much to add to this. I really liked how he put into words what a lot of people in the comments were saying, and he did it so eloquently, I had to read it. Duffy says, this reminds me of the ideals of anarcho-frontierism. They want to live just like we did in the 1800s. We live off the land, we're self-sufficient, just like cowboys. Except this is impossible due to modern-day governments and customs. So they want to find a technology, or a way to send them to a different planet and live how they want. This political belief is just a joke, but I couldn't help but notice the similarities. Personally, if I had to choose to leave or stay, I'd go. This is a chance that will probably never happen again in human history, and I want to be part of that. Leaving my friends and family who didn't want to come would be challenging, but this is a new planet. In my opinion, it's far beyond my family. This is a human matter. The way this new planet works as you describe breaks physics as we know it. A chance to learn and understand. It sounds exciting to me. And I'm sure there would be many people who think the same way I do. I don't know why this comment made me think of this, but I had this idea where we all go to this planet. Let's say, like I said, there's 1 million of us, and none of us survive. But as we're there, we document everything. We all find as much as we can about this planet, figure out why, even though it's twice as large as Earth, its gravity is the same. Just going through and discovering everything we possibly can. We put it into a giant-ass book, and then we all die. Thousands of years later, eventually human beings have the ability to travel all through space, and they find this planet again, and they're like, oh my god, we finally found the planet that we all left to 1,000 years ago. They get there and they find this book, and I think the biggest problem would be that our language changes so much that they probably wouldn't even be able to read it. They'd have to take it back to Earth to decipher it. But I don't know. I don't know why that came into my mind after you said this, but something about what you said made me think of that. Hunter Hussein says, what if you decide to live on that planet, but after 2 to 3 months later, another extraterrestrial life also decides to hop on, and they take you as slaves? It just kills the point of making the jump for me. I don't know, man. You know what they say? It's all part of the experience, dude. I mean, that's the thing. You know, if you go to this place, you're not going to know what to expect. You could meet a god or something. Like, who the hell knows? But that's the thing. You got to gamble with it. Shlum says, what an interesting dream. You must have been smoking in some wax stuff. But I wouldn't be able to go to this planet as I need insulin due to my type 1 diabetes. If I didn't have diabetes, I'd probably go without looking back. Maybe bring a guitar and hope for the best. Meeting some like-minded people when I get there. I actually noticed a few times, and I can't believe I didn't even think about this before I made the video, but there are people with health issues that would prevent them from going. There are some people in the comments who are saying that they have ADHD, autism, and bipolar disorder, and if they were to go without any of their medication, it just wouldn't end well. And I imagine that, like, there could be people who are a little out of their minds. They go to this planet and they just disregard the fact that they need medication to keep them sane, and then they're like killing people in the middle of the night. I didn't even think about this. It's crazy how many movie ideas come from this one idea just from reading your guys' comments. Lane says, Barry, you should consider joining a commune. I've watched you for years, and honestly, it just seems like something that would be good for you to look into. You have the right mindset for that sort of lifestyle, and would probably get along with the people there after an adjustment period. Just look into it. I think it might make you feel more fulfilled. If not, then meet cute girl on the other side. You should at least get a hippie girlfriend, Lamau. You're hot AF and have the right personality to date someone like that. I'm not sure what to make of this comment, but I feel like if anyone were to go, I think cute hippie girls, I guess I would hope cute hippie girls would be making the jump over. I'm not sure if a commune would be what I'm looking for. I think I get what you mean, though. It does sound nice, especially like anyone can come up with a commune idea in their head that is just perfect for them. But the thing is, I'm not sure if I would exactly find a commune that would be perfect for me. Then again, I will say this. If I ever stumble upon a situation where I'm traveling across America or something and I find a commune that seems really cool, I'll hang out with them for a little while and then see what that's like. Maybe I would enjoy being in America if it were more of like this community-based system. Who knows? Dude, Sean's is so good. Before leaving, I would go on 4chan and humbly request the largest meme collection of any users willing to donate. Drive after drive would be filled with terabytes of the most obscure and dank memes from the age of the internet. Obscure references to history, recent events with no context, cryptic interpretations of the culture of our time. With me, I would have one of the most valuable and important resources on this new world. Mere historical records would be taken with by scientists and historians, but memes would represent a digital copy of the culture we left behind. Several years into this new society, many people will adjust to the new life in this frontier. Many more will regret their hasty decision. I would sell something far more valuable than people had first realized. Nostalgia, memories, humor. How much firewood would you give to see one last dog meme? Perhaps meal for a Pepe. Maybe even a political favor for a collection of Rickrolls. I would be a cultural archivist, an internet historian. This dude is a badass. So a lot of people are writing that they wouldn't go without their close friends or their family, and I really appreciate all of them, but they're basically just saying that. This quote wraps these up very well, and I wanted to read this one. This is by Scullin. If and only if all my friends came through. If only some did, I'd check who, and go in if it was my best buds. Ain't going nowhere without them sons of bitches. And if I didn't have anyone to call a friend, I'd get the hell out of Earth. This place we call home is dying and is corrupt. If the f***ing cosmos gave me a chance to change the wrong and to rewrite the regrets, I'd do it. I won't regret it because this is a brand new start. Scullin, you may as well be a poet. You made this whole video for the Starbucks joke, didn't you? Yeah. Gravitational pull of the other planet and the Earth causes both to crash into each other and everyone dies. Thanks, Star Killers. Thanks. Yeah, that's good. And that's gonna do it for all the comments. You guys have good heads on your shoulders, and it makes me want to do more videos like this. It seems like a lot of you are ready to leave our society and join a cult. Maybe I'll go ahead and buy a piece of property and we can just set something up. What do you say? Let's plan it. Bye, guys.